Okay. Hey, how's everybody doing? This is Dr. Joe Martin for the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Today we have a good guest here with us. His name is Jose Garcia. To be honest with you, don't know a lot about this guy yet, but which is cool for me because guess what? That means the podcast some people are looking at and I don't even know who they are yet, which is cool. So long story short, how we got him on here before we get the intro is a good friend of mine that I work on the other side of this wall. We got Doc's Gym. And one of my really good friends, Jackie, she's trains in the gym here. She has her own little side business. She sells custom rims overseas and whatnot. And she got involved with Jose here and does a little camera stuff on his own. And he's kind of likes this business of the podcast and whatnot. And he was like, hey, man, introduce me to Doc, man. I'd like to get on this podcast. So I'm like, I don't care who comes on because guess what? The idea behind this podcast, it's that warrior mindset. And we're going to let the audience know where you come from and how you kind of put on your armor every day because what happens in life is the road that we travel isn't always what our friends and family want us to travel, you know? And I got a little insight, so I'm going to, teasing the audience here because, you got a good little story on where you come from and things like that. But, just extend a handshake across the board, bro.
For sure.
And it's good to have you.
Oh, thank you.
And Jose, dude, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I'm just kind of intrigued, which is kind of cool, because I'm going to use you as the first guy that was like, man, I heard about this podcast. I want to get on this one.
Yeah.
On a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in popping in and talking to us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So my name's Jose Garcia. I go by Chango. That's
Chango,
like
good. From here on
stage
in,
name,
it's
you
Chango.
could say. Yeah. So
Okay, is that a
like stage name? You could say?
Yeah.
Chango. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm 26 years old. Well, I'm turning 26 barely.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm a videographer, photographer, and you could say like creative director. Mm-hmm. So basically, you want to know like how I started?
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're still a young guy, and a Hispanic background,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is that a little bit off the wall from what your parents would have wanted you to do?
I feel like yeah, cause so I was actually born in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
I was brought here when I was 1.
Okay.
So I basically grew up my whole life here, So grew up with working parents and stuff, and it was
What type of work did they do?
My dad used to used to run a hotel, and my mom always worked in like the kitchen. So
check.
Yeah,
here in California.
in Fresno, yeah,
In Fresno.
yeah, the whole time. So yeah, I mean, I grew up watching them just work, and to this day they still work a lot.
That's
and
awesome.
They fortunately they got their own business, so they have their own restaurant here in Fresno now.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, what's the name of it?
It's Shayla's Taqueria.
There we go. We got to get that out there. And where's that at?
That's over there on the west side of Fresno.
Check.
Yeah,
Alto 99?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so,
over there by the Chaffee Zoo.
Okay, so if
Yeah.
anybody wants to get some good authentic Mexican food,
Yeah.
once again the name.
Shayla's
Yeah,
Taqueria.
we're gonna shout out for those guys. That's good. So now they progressed from working super hard, we'll say the hotel industry, to now owning their own restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so my mom was the one who like sparked it, let's open up our own, it was like a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So they started their own business and stuff. So then that's when I started seeing how like passionate they were about starting their own thing,
Right.
So I saw like the struggles and all that. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings, so I basically have seen their whole journey in general,
Mm-hmm.
So I graduated from high school 2016, and
Where'd you go?
I went to Central High School.
Oh, Central.
Yeah, I went to Central.
Definitely gotten bigger since 16.
Yeah.
Another high school now there and everything too.
Right. Yeah.
Growing out that side of town.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So throughout high school, I was just that quiet kid. I've always been like to myself and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I graduated high school, and like when you graduate high school, you're like, now what?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something not a lot of people talk about. Like, once you finish high school, you start to question like, what do I do?
And were you one of those guys, because people have listened to some of the podcasts. I got a military background, right? And so right at 18, I was thinking just like you.
Right.
What am I going to do? I was thinking police officer, firefighter, things like that. But then the military, is what hit me.
Yeah.
So that's a great concept. And, if we can make help somebody on this podcast to go, hey man, just because you hit 18 doesn't mean you can't have other goals in your life and you can, build towards those,
Right.
I joined the military and then when you hit 18, like what sparked you to kind of do what you're doing?
So I actually took a break. I didn't go straight to college. I took a break and I was just like, what is something that I like,
Yeah.
And that's when like Instagram was starting to like pop off. Like it was getting more and more popular.
Gotcha.
And I've always had a thing for like pictures and video.
Gotcha.
So it goes back to video because my dad used to record with a camcorder, back in the day. And I used to, I don't know, something about it, like
Kind of intrigued you?
yeah, growing up. So then, I'm like, I kind of like this video and photo stuff. And I was seeing how everyone like was using it for either music videos or like family
Like
portraits.
social media, whatever, right.
Yeah, like a visual art, you could say. And then I was like, all my friends started going to Fresno City College. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Fresno City College, see if they have like a photo program.
Yeah.
And they did.
And is it bigger than like, is it the photo with like marketing and advertising? Is it cinematography to become a director, a film guy, or is it all encompassing?
It's basically more photography.
Photography only?
Yeah. Photoshop, Lightroom.
Oh, check.
It was mostly that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. So I remember I bought my first camera off Craigslist before the semester started. And then I'm like, dang, I don't even know how to use this thing, because I used to always use my iPhone and stuff for pictures. And I'm like, now it's getting more technical. So I bought it off Craigslist and then, I remember.
Dude didn't even know how to use it.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to use it. And then,
is there classes available at Fresno City? Oh, okay.
So they have a beginner class. It's called a Photo 6.
Yeah.
And that was a class for like, you're a beginner. So they teach you like, okay, so this is a camera. This is.
It's like rockhead science.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It's a rockhead. Okay, here's your camera. Here's the lens.
Yeah. And then I started learning all the things about it. And then I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool, So then we started doing projects and stuff. And I was like, wow, like this is fun. I started liking it a lot. And then I moved on to the next class, which a little more like harder and stuff, Now it was like storytelling. And I even got like into like a journalism class. So I started getting into like audio stuff. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like throughout the years, I've been learning like step by step, And then I got a Photoshop and I started learning like graphics and like, I was like, damn, really throughout
Enjoying
the years.
it, yeah.
And then like for me, I've taken college really like slow. Like each semester I'll take 2-3 classes.
Dude, it doesn't make a difference, man. I tell people all the time, 6 years in the military, then went to college after that. People think that you have to have a timeline in life.
Right.
There's no such thing. I mean, nowadays even more so. So where you are at 25, 26 years old, nobody says you have to be a certain place at a certain time. And nobody says that you have to go to college. Technically, you're utilizing the city college, the community college here, in Fresno as almost like a tech school.
Yeah.
Technically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're learning all the apparatus, all this, things of that nature, which is more technical as opposed to somebody just sticking their brain in a book all day long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of take advantage of what they have.
Yeah. So then I was just grinding it out, taking all these classes. I even took like a film class,
Nice.
like when photography
Like from a director
started.
type of stuff?
Like
point of
film
view?
photography. Yeah, film photography.
Yeah.
So I started learning that, and then so we'll go back to like when I told my parents like, oh, I'm gonna go to school, and they're like, what are you gonna go to school for? I'm like, photography. They're like, photography.
Look at your freaking nuts.
Like what?
Like, what?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I that's what I want to do, and they're like, well,
Your mom's like, honey, photography is just for fun. It's not, it's not for living. You can take any pictures you want of birthday parties. Yeah, Mom, it's not like that.
Yeah. And then they would say like, what do you got to learn about that? You just get a camera and just, I'm like, there's way more to it,
Yeah.
And they're like, but I mean, as long as you're going back to school, then, that's
They're
good.
happy about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because, when you think about it and you're the oldest and, we try to always kind of combine the podcast from that warrior mindset.
Yeah.
And you have your folks that came, from a different country. Obviously, they're probably in their 20s at the time when they had you.
Yeah.
You were 1 year old.
Yeah.
And the other two were born here, correct? But they're grinding, bro. They're grinding every day, working in the hotel thing. And then all of a sudden, they take this little step and this pedestal up because life is brick and mortar, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. And the mortar is people that help you along the way. So say, for example, your mom and dad have this working for the hotel. Somebody gave them that little breaker. Somebody gave them that little push, that little mortar to put that other piece of brick on top to make them go, you know what? Your mom and dad are like, okay, babe, we're going to jump ship and own a restaurant.
Yeah.
Where some people around them were like, what are you, crazy? You have a great job here. You're working for a hotel company. And you're like, no, man, I want to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And they put on that armor that one day. And you could ask them one of these days, it's like, what was it that they just both feet in? They weren't putting a little big toe in the water.
Right.
Because when you leave a company, both have income, then they go, oh, guess what? We're going over here where unless anybody buys our food, we don't make squat today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
True.
and all of a sudden I will guarantee you through osmosis, you may not have felt this as a kid, but probably the way they've run their life, just hardcore working, never giving up, every day getting up and, doing what they got to do to now owning a business to where you're like, well, if you don't own business, mom and dad, I'm going to own my own business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, how far are you into like all the schooling stuff? Have you completed a lot of the courses and things that you want to?
Yeah, I
Or is
actually
there
finished. I actually finished my photography program already. I'm taking my last general ed class right now, which is astronomy. So after I get
Bro, you can take pictures of the stars and
right.
some film the stars. It's like, turn that in for your project.
Right. Yeah. So I'm basically done. But right now there's also like a videography program at City. So let's go back to where I was, still learning everything.
Yeah.
And then I basically learned graphics, video, audio, and all that. So then I got my first credit card, 2019. 2018, I got my first credit card. I'm like, what did I buy, And
To build your credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, I really wanted to start a podcast. I don't remember what sparked that, to be honest, because it was years ago, but I was like, I want to start a podcast. And then this is a crazy story, but I have a friend, shout out to George. This was like before COVID. I told him, like, let's start a podcast. We should go to the swap meet, the cherry auction. Maybe we'll find a mic. And then he's like, all right, yeah, let's go. So we went, and believe it or not, we found a mic. It was one of these.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you, this is like.
See, it's destined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought the mic, and then I bought like two more. And then I'm like, I started, buying with the credit card. I bought a mixer. I bought lights, and I was just going crazy. To this day, I'm like, dang, I was brave for that, because it was.
No, it's a lot, dude. It's a lot of money.
It
You know what I
is,
mean? When
yeah.
I was interested in doing this, and people think I'm nuts too. It's like, but I'm like one of those OCD guys. I got to be doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was a former military guy. I was fortunate to become a SEAL. Then I got out. I got my undergraduate education. Went on to graduate school, become a doctor, and I own a gym on the other side of this wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm getting freaking bored. It's like,
Right.
what? People say, you're bored being a doctor, you own a gym. Like, what the hell? It's just, I got to keep doing something. And
Right.
like, same with you. It's like, people are like, bro, what? And here's a question too. Like, what made you think of a podcast?
I think it's when like podcasts started picking up, because now a lot of people have podcasts. And it was like an early stage of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what podcast I used to watch a lot. But there is a certain one that I'm like, I want to do that. And then
Yeah.
another thing was too, I have a group of friends that I've had since like middle school. And we would always have crazy talks. I'm like,
Yeah.
it would be so
Just
cool.
Get them on.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing, because people ask me the same question. It's like, Doc, what made you want to do a podcast? And then that whole mindset, so the mindset of being in the SEAL team, and I was in for 6 years. I wasn't a 20-year guy. But the idea behind it is when I talk to people about my experience in the military, it set that foundation of who I am today. Remember, we talked about brick and mortar in our life. That's the way we become successful, is that it's made me have the foundation to excel and, get my undergraduate, excel to get your graduate, excel to, do good in business and hustle. Get up early in the morning, get your PT in, or get the grind in for your advertising, owning the gym business. But also too is I'm intrigued with guys like you. If I'm the guy that has that motivation all the time to kind of keep becoming successful, I want to talk to successful people. Now, success doesn't mean you got to have $1 million in the bank.
Right.
Success means, are you motivated every day to go one step further? And you're 26. Going to be 26?
Yeah, I'm going to be 26.
Going to be 26. At 26, I'm on the opposite. I'm on that 62 level. But people go, Doc, you should be, sitting on the beach and, you're chilling out. No, man, I'm just intrigued with people.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Right? And at 26 years old, you already got a freaking podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's freaking badass.
Right.
What's the name of the podcast? So we shout you out on our podcast.
It's a 313 podcast.
313. Okay, what's the concept behind it?
The concept, well, it was just getting all my friends like one by one and just having conversations about just, a lot of them, when I started, they were really young, so they would party a lot and like all these crazy stories. So it was like, that was just the concept of it. And then like throughout time we started getting into like just world news and stuff, or like. And
is it the three you guys?
Yeah,
that are on it.
Yeah, it was three of us basically.
Okay. And is it mainly so like right now, like I have guests that come on.
Yeah.
But also too, before you came on into our little studio room, you were out in our waiting room, and he was telling us, so you could hear us chatting away. What we'll do is to do some of the shorts and things like that, just like you. We'll just BS for the day. Yeah. The funny part of it is Frankie, my camera guy, and we'll let him, jump in and out of here on this podcast too. Is the funny thing is, I was mentioning to him is, you're a younger guy, I'm an older guy, and what goes on in society right now, I freaking shake my head, bro. I'm like, what the hell? And I had to go to the younger people and go, is that really like that?
All right.
It's like, what the hell's going on with people's minds? But you seem to be more of a even-keeled dude, I'm not going to put you in a conservative or liberal type of point of view, but you're a guy that wants to be successful. Usually which goes with more the conservative-minded. You want to be successful. You want to do your own thing. You want to be an entrepreneur. Like, what made you kind of think to yourself, is like, hey, I'm going to get this thing going?
It was basically like my parents, they became entrepreneurs, and I was like,
nice.
Like, I can make this happen, So yeah, my parents have a lot of like the motivation they have. I kind of got it from them, but just me, it's.
How long they own the restaurant now?
13 years.
No way, dude.
Yeah, long time.
And man, I tell you what, tell anybody that ever watched this podcast, Fresno, California, what they tell people all the time: if you can make a restaurant successful in California, you can frickin' make it anywhere.
Right.
I don't know what it is. They just say it's the dining out capital of the freaking world. Everybody goes to freaking out to dinner here. It's crazy. Restaurants coming and going all the time. And this is just like, I'm an implant too. I didn't grow up here. But it's like, I hear that story all the time. If you can make a restaurant go in Fresno, man, you can make it anywhere. And 13 years, that's no joke in this valley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hats off to them too. So,
yeah.
And what do you think it is, dude? Like, because you're trying to be an entrepreneur yourself. What do you think is that your folks, like, for 13 years, man, that's a long time. And Mexican restaurants and things like that pop up all the time. 13 years? Like, what do you think it is that the ingredient, no pun intended, little restaurant joke there, folks. What do you think the ingredients is for those guys?
I think
for
it's
13
just,
years.
Having that motivation to keep going, and I feel like it has to do a lot with the food, because my mom comes from backgrounds of like my grandma, who's always cooked really good. So
is there also too is I have a lot of Hispanic people in here, and I as the white guy, I'm super intrigued with states in Mexico, because man, the culture is so different in a lot of the states.
Yeah.
Is there a food entity that your mom makes there that, like, what's the state that they're from?
Oh, Michoacan.
Oh, Michoacan.
Yeah.
So is there stuff there that you go, oh, it's indigenous to, this area, and when people go, they go, oh man, this is, this is the food. Like, is there anything that your mom goes, yeah, this is my secret recipe?
Yeah, I feel like the caldos, like chicken soup.
Yep.
Albóndigas, you ever had albóndigas?
Oh yeah, and what is it? Del pollo.
Yeah.
The chicken soup.
Yeah. Caldo de pollo.
Caldo de pollo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom makes soups every day during the week, like, of the day.
Yep.
And then it's always like,
Oh, this is like a soup of the day.
yeah, soup of the day.
Okay.
Yeah. So people like, they
come there for that. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's very like
authentic. Yeah, exactly.
That's the word. Yeah.
And I bet you any amount of money because, it's interesting because, I talk on the podcast a lot because I personally, this is my own personal opinion, I feel that people that were born and raised here in the United States do not know what it's like to live here and how lucky we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're 1 year old, but where your experience, you came over here when you're 1 year old, but your experiences is through your parents.
Yeah.
And how motivated, how grateful. They throw on that armor every day. They go, I'm going to be successful because I know what it was like in Mexico and now we're successful here in the United States, where I think some people take it for granted. I've been fortunate being in the military traveling, plus in the civilian sector. I work for this fitness company for a long time. Still shout out to TRX, man, a great company. Randy Hetrick, former SEAL, owned the company for a long time. But I traveled all over the world there. And I would come home every time, land in Fresno and go, man, there's no place better to live. Beautiful places around the world.
Yeah.
But, this is the place to live.
Right.
And it's probably that motivation factor that your parents had that give you that gift of, man, if my parents can, make a go at it in this business, I'm going to do the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what do you, like how many podcasts, like, well, you've done it for a couple of years now, though,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah. We've done probably like over 60 podcasts.
Nice.
Yeah. So we did a whole bunch. And then we started getting into so I've always been a fan of like creatives in Fresno, like whether you're an artist, whether you like to like make paintings or, there's all
like
kinds
the art
of
hop type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down in Tower District.
Yeah. So then I was like, let's start bringing in like people who make music so I started meeting more people like that, more
Nice.
people that kind of related to that. I'm like, I know what it is to like make something out of nothing, So then it was cool. It was fun. And then it got to a point where I was like, podcast was fun, but I'm like, I want to do more of
the creative aspect.
Yeah. So then that's when I started getting into like videography and like I was like so a funny story, I had my podcast, right? I'm like, I want a personal channel where I can post whatever I want.
Oh, check. Got you.
And then I was like, but I was scared. I was scared to post my first video because I would be talking to a camera,
Yeah.
And it's pretty awkward at first. It's hard. So
Yeah.
then,
this is 10 times easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So then I started making videos, but I wouldn't post them. I would just make videos and I'll look at them.
That confidence aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, I don't know if this is good. So then I made maybe like 20 videos just.
And didn't post anything?
I didn't post any of them.
Bro.
I was scared. I'm like, I don't know if I should do this.
Did you finally post them?
Yeah.
Little by little?
Yeah. So this was COVID era. I was making videos.
Time.
Yeah. So then I was like, you know what? I think it's time. Yeah, I had it in mind. I want to start this. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just do it. And I was really scared. I'm like, you know what? I'm just do it. And then I made my first official video. It was a hike with my friends up in Millerton. And by that time,
you took the video up there?
Yeah, I bought a vlogging camera. You know, a vlogging camera,
No.
like the screen.
Frankie, do you know what one of those are?
Like the screen pops up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Little like a portable.
Yeah, like one of those that pops up so you can see yourself.
Oh really? And you could just
like record yourself. You just record yourself. Walk. Yeah. So a vlogger is basically that. Talk,
right.
So then I bought me one of those and I was like, we went hiking and I brought it with me and
you set it up.
Yeah, I was just talking like, this is my friend George and like. By that time we already had a podcast, so it kind of made
Complemented.
sense. Yeah, like we went from a podcast to me now like becoming like a vlogger, you know? So then I started doing videos like that and then like I just kept it going and right now I'm on my 85th video.
Shut up. No way.
85th video.
Bro,
like over 30,000 views. in all my
And
videos.
that's a vlogging, right?
Like a vlogging channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I implemented a whole lot of like photography because, you know, I started with photography, and then from there I started going into like video stuff, you know, like I feel like photography really helped me into the video program, like
Gotcha.
into like change from photo to video, you know, and then yeah, I started the vlogging channel, and then I just till this day it's just growing and growing.
And is that a daily thing, or a couple times a week?
I do it. I try to post every week.
Every week.
Yeah, every week I try to post, and then yeah, it's just it's crazy to see the like the journey, you know, like me from 2 years ago to my first video to now. It's like, wow, like I feel like the more you do something, the more you'll see like the growth, you know. So then I'm like, I want to get more into video. So then I started like experimenting with like short films, you know, and like just building.
No way, you got a little short, like with a couple buddies, and just make some.
Yeah, so I'm actually taking a video class right now at Fresno
And that
City.
would be for like the short film type stuff?
So we're shooting short films. So it's just been fun. You know, I've been meeting people and stuff. And then, so I kind of put podcasting to the side for a bit.
Right now.
And right now I'm just focused on the video part.
Right.
And I bought me a gimbal not too long ago, so I started using that and seeing.
Okay. Now I'm gonna have to go to Frankie on that one. What the frick is that, bro?
It like balances out your camera, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It prevents it from like
really.
jittering.
Oh, no way.
Stabilized. Yeah.
Damn, I gotta get me one of those toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I bought me one of those not too long ago. So when I started with photography, editing pictures was not that fun to me. You know, it was okay, you know, but then I started getting to videos, and I'm like, I really enjoy editing videos. Like
Wait, what didn't you like?
I didn't like the editing, like pictures.
Oh, pictures. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, right. So when you're doing, like, say, for example, my daughter, she's been on the podcast before. She does photography, but she does photography and then edits. She does weddings, just kind of like you do.
Yeah.
Weddings and quinceañeras and graduation pictures. But I can see where that could be tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I started editing videos, and I'm like, this is super fun, just because you implement like music with the video, you know. So
I don't think we have. Frankie, do we have video yet? I don't think we. Do we have?
We have
a theme song,
Yeah.
and do we have some music that we put into it?
Yeah, we have intro and outro music.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, see,
we're growing, bro. We're growing.
Yeah, so I got really into that. Like to this day, I still go on YouTube and I look for, like, I don't know if you heard of type beats. So it's like people who make music who just make music.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, is that how we got some of our theme song, or intake and outtake, right? We just took some beats along the way.
No, we paid for like stock music.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah,
nice.
okay.
Yeah, so I started doing that because it kind of gives people who make the beats like promotion, you know?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I'm like, so to this day, I still listen to music, and I'm like, I can use this for a video in the future, you know?
Oh, check. And then you kind of save that.
Yeah, so I have a playlist with like over 100 beats, and I'll just, if I'm editing a video, I'm like, I'll add, I like this beat, you know? It goes with the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, to this day, I'm still making videos and stuff, and it's fun, you know? Sometimes,
Where do you think this path is going?
I feel like this is going towards, I want to do a whole more, like we talked about Jackie, you know, I'm shooting video for her, and now we're traveling. We went to Sacramento, Los Angeles.
Did some filming?
Yeah, I've done
or
video.
advertising.
Yeah.
Oh, check. I got you. So like with hers, say for example, it's the wheel. You know, she does. A good friend of ours, Jackie. She sells rims overseas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like high end,
Right.
like Ferrari, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you did a little piece for her.
So we started going to car meets and stuff.
She's in LA right now.
Oh yeah.
Actually.
Yes. She went. Yeah. So I was like,
you tell her to take some photos and stuff like that
for
you?
No, she takes like the TikToks content and all that, and I just do just YouTube stuff.
Oh, check.
So just editing the meat and stuff like that.
Then she can get that out there to her.
Yeah. So when she came up with the idea, I was already looking for something like that, because I want to travel more. I feel like there's so much out there, and like you said that you travel the world, like, man, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And like to document that, it's you know,
It's kind of a cool concept. Like Frankie and I, we talk about it too. Is like one of the advantages I have, but I've and that's why I wanted to put the podcast together, because we all have that warrior mindset every day. Like, look at you got to put on the armor every day, and people are throwing shit at you all the time. They're trying to chink that armor. They're trying to dull the shine that you put on every day. They're trying to make holes in your armor. But you got to get up in the morning, like we talked about before, and put on the armor and go, no, not today, man. Today I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be one more step towards my success along the way. I want to meet people like that. So where we are is more local right now, and I've been super blessed that I have a good reputation in town with my experience. Same thing as you. I want to take that next step up where you start to interviewing, different, more successful people, and traveling with your camera people to higher senators and congressmen and retired military and generals and colonels and things like that, and entrepreneurs and people that are have become successful. But how did they become successful? That's what I want to know.
Right.
And even where you are, you've already at 26 years old, you have a lane, this road to go into. And right now it's pretty straight. It's on this, the podcast, the videography, then into like short films and things like that. Man, that's it's admirable for a guy your age to have that type of motivation. And, we got to give props to your parents because, their success, and they've never quit 15 years again. In the restaurant business is not easy to do, man. Stuff closes down, it opens up, closes down again. And they're still, standing,
Yeah.
One of the mottos that I remember had when I was going through buds in the SEAL team is, our class motto after we got done with Hell Week was, standing tall when the smoke clears.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's always shiz that's going on in life, man. But when that smoke finally clears, where are you standing? Are you still secure? Are you still motivated? You still got your business, still got your health, still got, your family, you still got your friends, you still got your finances, because every day, it's a battle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What what do you see yourself more so like doing like short films?
Yeah.
Like,
so that's something I've been looking into, like maybe acting. Because I like being in front of the camera a lot. Because, I do like videography stuff and all that. And yeah, being in front of the camera is something I really like. And it's something that I do want to get more into.
Locally here, as a matter of fact, Frankie and I were just talking about this off screen before you came on. There's a good buddy of mine that was in that seat right there, KP. He's, from I think Laotia, and he came over. He was a kid, after that Vietnam War, and he was a little kid that his family came to the U.S. But he runs like an acting studio here in town. So we're off camera here. I'll get you his information.
Yeah.
Life is about that. It's the life. I tell people it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Who you know, yeah.
And I've been in industry with people business, whether it's patients, the gym, my military experience. I've lectured all over the world too. But it's not. Is if you know somebody that knows somebody, you can get whatever you want.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if I said to you, hey, Jose, I need a plumber. You go, I know a guy that knows a guy. And you may say, hey, Joe, I need an electrician. I don't know how to freaking do that shit, but I probably got a patient or 10 patients that are electricians. And if they don't know, they know somebody that knows.
Yeah.
So I think success is really only that, but they use that cliche all the time. And, he gets the publicity all the time. With Kevin Bacon, was it one what do they call it? One gener?
It's like 5 connections.
Five connections to Kevin Bacon.
Like
like something silly like that. They did it to the movie star where I could say a name, you could say a name, he could say a name, Frankie could say a name. We need 2 more people, and all of a sudden that guy or gal knows Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how success works. You're going to you're going to have that credentials. We'll call it a degree or certs or whatever. I have the same. But it's your life experiences that makes you successful.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can refer you my guy, KP, and he can go, oh man, I'm looking for this style of dude and this and that. Or he may go, hey, I need help with camera type stuff, you know?
Exactly.
And it's just, you for me, because I got the license, I got the degree, I've been in practice for a while, I'm in the gym. But for me, the podcast stuff is like an alter ego.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? So I like you, I like being on the mic and whatever. And with KP, he's given me some work over the years. And it's funny because as the white guy, I've been on 2 Indian Punjabi music videos.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I played a detective. On
That's
2 of them.
cool.
One was a police officer, one was a detective.
Yeah,
And then my buddy was shooting a Netflix. And now Netflix can go on all the time. You just never know whether or not they'll, finish and get published and produce whatever. But I did a Netflix one where I played a Russian diplomat. And the Netflix show was about how when in the 70s or 80s, I think if I got my history right, when India was being courted, if you will, by the U.S. and Russia, whether it's to become a communist, type of country or more of a diplomatic. And it just goes through the whole thing. And I play a Russian diplomat talking to, an Indian, diplomat and whatever. It was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it's like those things you say. It's like, if you have that goal that you want to do, just, kind of go for it.
Right.
And this is the fun stuff. I mean, you can sit on this side here, man. And we're having a blast here. It's no stress, nothing. But then, every day you still got to get up and you got to put your big boy panties on and look in the mirror, throw that armor on and go, okay, man, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
What keeps you motivated? Because this industry, dude, it's not easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I make a living, you know what I mean? Owning a gym and things like that. What keeps you motivated? Like what?
I think the journey, like my journey that I've lived, over the years, I'm just like, gotta keep going, like one thing happens and another thing happens, like I met Jackie and then we started going and shooting videos and I'm like, the journey, it's basically what keeps me motivated and like keep going, like what's next, like it's just, I feel like it has to do a lot too with like my vlogging channel. Is like I see all my videos and like everything I've been through and I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like,
yeah, dude, 80. Like what, 60,
85
80,
videos.
80 videos? So
85 videos. Yeah, I'm 15 away from 100 videos. So
yeah.
Imagine shooting 100 videos.
Dude, that's a lot of work. I mean, we're here, what do we got, Frankie? Maybe 18? 18?
Yeah, 18, 20.
18 or 20, and obviously, it's the editing that takes a little while, so they don't get out right away.
Right.
And actually, we're bringing on another guy that's going to help us edit a little bit more because,
nice.
We're getting a little bit busy and we're trying to, get into some of the shorts and some of the stuff where, like, you have the split screen.
Oh, right.
Where I'm observing a TikTok or I'm observing a YouTube or I'm observing, a couple minutes and I'll make a comment on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Those type of things. Because,
nice.
Like we've talked about it a little bit too, is I'm from that, older generation. But so it's fun for me because then I question is like, damn, if that shit went on when I was young, man, you get your ass handed to you by some parent. Like, Frankie and I were talking off camera just in the fact that when you were kids and you're at a barbecue or party, it didn't matter whether it was a white dude, a black dude, a Mexican dude, a Puerto Rican dude, Asian guy, whatever the heck his be is. If you're the little kid and you're effing around, you're going to get something in the back of the head.
Oh, no, yeah.
Right? And if you go crying to your mom or your daddy, your mom and dad would probably give you one too and go, quit crying. You probably deserved it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't do that. Frankie was giving me an analogy or an example of, say for argument's sake, what was it, a grocery store where the kid,
I know someone that works at the mall. And they had an instance where they had to kick some kids out of the store.
There's too many people there.
And then the kid told them to fuck off and then proceeded to go get their mom, brought their mom back, and then their mom yelled at the employee.
That's
dude,
crazy.
So that's what's kind of cool for me with these type of podcasts. We talk about that mindset and et cetera.
Yeah,
but I'm coming from it like you're 26 years old and you're like, Joe, this is freaking common, bro. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I would have had my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
And I don't care what color the person, the adult was, because the parents are all friends, and they go, you freaking deserved it. Now, if you're not going to stop crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about.
Right.
I was always like, my dad was, the East Coast Irish Catholic, grew up in the Bronx, and, you always still have that, how you doing? You know what I mean? And you'd have that accent, you're just like, I'll give you something to cry about.
Right.
Yeah. And, so that's the way it was. You know what I mean? So different now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even a guy like you, where at 26 years old, being motivated enough to, that seems like you could easily live in the generation when I was 25, 26 years old, in the late 80s or whatever it was, and me being motivated to become a doctor, where you're at 26 now, where a lot of guys in your age group still wallowing.
Yeah.
They're in quicksand, bro. They're in quicksand.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily, here yet, but they're wallowing in the quicksand. And unless somebody throws them a rope or they figure it out themselves and grab a vine on the side of the, the quicksand,
That's true.
their life, where does their life go?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's something I've always been thinking about lately. Like, the route I'm taking is really misunderstood. Like, it's
that's a great question for me to ask. It's not understood because your parents are you're first generation.
Yeah.
Your parents are migrants over here. So it's misunderstood from who? Do you think it's the young kids in society what are you doing that for? Or is it your parents? But your parents are supportive.
Yeah.
But were there people older going, dude, what are you doing this for? Like,
yeah. Because as I'm getting older, I got friends who have families now, or they're just
like, what, bro? Get a wife.
Yeah, yeah. What are you gonna have kids? I'm
work for a solar company and just, especially in the valley here, sun all day long, right?
Right.
Put up some solar panels, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, dude, no, just do what you're doing, man. I mean, and Frank, you're got Jose about a couple years?
Like 2 years younger than me.
So, I mean, and Frankie's on the other side of this, doing the same thing like you do.
Oh, nice.
And on top of it, like he's more the guy behind the scenes. You're a little bit more in the front of the scenes, but, we're trying to make this. I see myself as an older Joe Rogan, you know what I mean? Where the people that I get on are just like, Joe's just intrigued with people. I'm the same way, and then my background, a military guy, doctor-wise, things like that, I can have a plethora of conversations with people because of my experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And, but yeah, so it was like one of those things I saw Joe over the years and I'm like, Joe Rogan, I'm like, man, I would love to be able to do that too. Cause like Joe, I got no problem talking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as long as you can keep BSing with people and keeping the interaction going, you know what I mean? That's the fun stuff. So question for you is, what made you so I've known Jackie for a couple of years. She comes into my gym, she works out hard, man. She's a hustler, family owns a family business, Hispanic background. The dad, I'm not sure if her dad, was her dad born here?
I think he was born over there.
Over in Mexico. Yeah. So same thing, just like your folks along the way. He has his tire company. His son, works there too. Jackie works there. Jackie's this tiny little girl. And I'm telling you what, man, she can, use a wrench gun, whatever. You see, I totally effed up that tool. So somebody you can just put a mark there. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about with the tools. She knows tools better than I freaking do. Right. But, man, she can change the damn tire, man. Pull a rim off and everything like that. I mean, she's no joke. But when talking with her, like what intrigued you or what kind of got you interested in chatting with us?
Oh, so I started working with her because I saw her motivation too as starting something from nothing, And that's something I've always been a fan of because it is hard to start a podcast, start a vlogging channel.
Start coming to a new country.
Yeah, Right? Yeah, it's something so new, to start something. It's kind of scary sometimes, So then when she was telling me about you and your warrior mindset, I'm like, I would love to be on there just because I was watching your other podcast and how you were talking about, it takes guts to put on that armor. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's how I felt over the years. That it's like, I could have easily put, what I like to do on the side and just
get the 9 to 5.
Yeah. And I was like, it's something that I've always gave myself I'm glad I'm still following that vision,
Well, it's been what, say 3 years?
Maybe 4 years.
4 years, 4 years now.
4 years.
Yeah, and it's still a grind. Does it make is it making you money right now?
No,
not really.
It ain't. But I feel like it's getting to a point where it's going to. But I've told myself that it's more of the
the journey.
Yeah, doing it. Not the money because if you think I could have easily been going to companies right now hey, I'll shoot you a video, to shoot me this amount of money.
But you could.
I
mean,
could.
You could do that part time.
Yeah, I could, but I'm like, you know what? I'll rather, start doing free work, build up my portfolio, and then I'll get to a point, where I can show like I've done all this, like,
Right.
So
That's a great idea.
yeah.
You know
So,
what I mean?
and I've talked to like other like big videographers who are doing like a lot of, professional work now, and they're like, yeah, my best recommendation is to start doing free work, and then you'll build up, meet people like we talked about, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's something that I've told myself to like build my portfolio and
you know what? And that's a admirable concept to have. Because I still do the same thing, and I've been in practice a long time. Where if I feel somebody needs some work for free, whether it's the chiropractic or they can't afford a gym membership or things like that, and we donate or I get to write off or whatever. Man, I'm a firm believer in karma. Man, you do right for people, it comes back to you 10 times.
Yeah.
10 times. So don't ever let any rust
right.
get on your armor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Polish that thing every day, because what happens is doubt, people being negative to you, that kind of breeds the rust on the armor. You know what I mean? So don't allow that doubt or feeling of, you're not getting successful.
Yeah.
Because every day, man, brush that thing off, because, man, I tell you, life with a lot of people, rot just gets in there, rust gets in there and just destroys your armor.
That's
and then all of a
true.
sudden we go down a slippery slope in another direction. So keep donating your time, man. Like, and what's going to happen is somebody's going to see that. Like, say, for example, Jackie's work with, you're doing some of the marketing or advertising for her. And then somebody may see her stuff and go, hey, who's doing that work?
Yeah.
Well, it's not free for that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing the stuff for Jackie because you became friends and this and that. So that one is a no charge because she's helping you build your portfolio.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, some guy talks to you, a competitor or, America's Tire, I don't know,
Right.
whatever, same type of genre.
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, man, I'll pull in there. But guess what? It's going to cost you some pennies.
Yeah.
Well, how much do you charge her? Oh, well, that's, patient confidentiality.
Yeah.
That's, customer confidentiality. And, we just got to keep that separately.
Right.
But we're going to charge you this much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, man, keep on the grindstone with that.
Yeah.
You know what I
definitely.
mean? What do you think about our little setup right now? What we
It's
got?
super cool.
Yeah?
It's super cool. It's like, yeah, this is really nice.
I mean, we're just starting off, and we have a lot of ideas too.
Yeah.
Like, and I look forward. It'll be one of those things in a couple of years down the road. Hopefully we'll be in a different facility. Right now, our studio right now is in my chiropractic adjusting facility.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, this is the chiropractic office too.
It works really well.
Yeah,
dude,
it
yeah,
The
does.
right.
space is really nice.
really
Yeah,
nice.
Well, it's funny because I've thought about it before too. The way they have it, like out here in California, they have some business parks, but all they are is little rows of one rooms,
Yeah.
400 square feet. You know what I mean? I've thought about that. To say, okay, get that one, get it all set up as a studio.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, this and that. And I thought to myself, I pay freaking rent here already.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just free the room I'm spending
Yeah.
on anyway? So if there's a Sunday, which we're on a Sunday,
Yeah.
if I'm going to do some taping, it's freaking free.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why would you increase your overhead for now when you don't have to?
That's true.
You know what I mean? And it's like you said, it's a pretty cool little setup.
Yeah, it's cool.
And we like it.
Awesome.
But like, what's some of the goals in the future for you? So where do you see yourself? I'm like, the silly cliche is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, Johnny?
Right.
Like what's your next steps? Is there more school to finish?
Yeah. So I basically started my own brand too. as you
Nice.
can see.
Create.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I started my own brand, and I'm gonna still go to school. I'm just looking for an opportunity, meeting new people and stuff like that. Hopefully, getting the chance to travel more, because I feel
And
like
with that, what would the travel be? Like, what would it be like?
well, shoot videos for either music
clients.
videos, like clients, and just I've considered myself like a creative director because I just like to throw out ideas like, oh, I have an idea for this, idea for that. So basically, I just want to just continue projects, and I've always said like focus on one thing and then the next. So today we did this podcast, and then what's next? You know, because like on Wednesday I'm gonna go shoot a music video.
Nice.
So that's next, and then all right, what's after that? Oh, I have next month we're going to Jackie with San Francisco to shoot a video over there
for
her company.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll get ready for that, you know? So like,
Well, and also too is like with this podcast, I'm just thinking to myself, I have two people. One guy, he does it on the side. He runs Amazon trucks. I mean, this guy's a very successful dude, young guy too, maybe a little bit older than you. And, but then he's got a van with probably $100,000 worth of, camera equipment. So he's the one that does all the music videos and whatever, but who knows? I'll just introduce you to him. You go, hey man, if you ever want me to just, tag along or, hey, be an outside camera guy, or you take the outside pictures and then looking in, and then that's that different type of reel, or that goes back on your podcast. You go, hey, everybody, today, with your three guys, right? Hey, man, we did this video here with this, this music video, and then KP, I'll introduce you to, and then he's a guy that has like for the acting classes and film and whatever, and he does a lot of independent films here in Fresno.
Oh, nice.
So if it's one of those things he's looking for a certain, part or whatever, he's got his Rolodex. Hey, now I'm really freaking old. I just said freaking Rolodex, right?
Right.
That's the fun part about this freaking podcast, man. I could tell people could tell how fucking old I am. But, in his contacts, that he's looking for stuff, and that's the thing we talk about, brick and mortar, right? We're introducing ourselves to other people. We're meeting other people along the way. It's not, there's no monetary value a lot of times, but when it eventually does hit pay dirt, you're like, oh yeah, man, I climbed up this mountain, but I didn't do it by myself.
Right.
I had other people help me along the way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, doing those videos and things like that. But, so here's a question for you. If and we'll put a shout out to the clothing wear, for Create, and we'll Frank, you'll get all his information, and we'll be able to put it underneath, so you can get a hold of Jose for that, and we'll go from there. But question I have for you is, if I was to ask you, like and then it may be in the industry, it may not be in the industry, who's somebody that you would say to yourself, man, this is the person that's motivated me to do what I do today? It could be anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so there's a videographer. His name's Lalo the Giant. Yeah, and I actually met him. I went to LA last year, and I got to meet him and stuff.
Was that like a convention?
It was like an event he had at his town. He's from Santa Ana, California. So it's a small town, It's in LA, but it's a small town. So he made it big, and he's shooting music videos for all these huge artists, And then he always talks about how he started the same. He went to community college, started learning videography work, photography work, and then he got the huge opportunity to start working for like a music label. And now he's successful.
He's big time right now. Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, I feel like it's possible. I feel like I've been putting in the work over the years to where if I get that opportunity to start working for someone, I can make it happen.
Yeah. No, and also too is like, you may not ever have to. Like, I never really worked when I first got out of chiropractic school, I never really worked for anybody. I rented rooms, I gave a percentage, but I never had a boss. Oh, wow. Now, did I have to grind a lot harder than if you were to work in a hospital setting or work in a big group and whatever? But I'm like, no, man, I'm not even going to. I got to a point where I don't want anybody to tell me what to do.
Right.
If I'm going to fall on my face because it's my fault. But guess what? I'm also going to get up on my own. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's no, what do I say? There's no disgrace in failure.
Right.
There's only disgrace if you don't get up.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So you got to get up. So you don't necessarily have to work for somebody. You could be building up enough to where all of a sudden now you're like, hey, listen, this is my production.
Right.
Now I got to look for a Johnny or a Sally to work with you.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Because they're going to have to help you out.
Yeah.
So don't tell yourself just to have to do that, because I think where you're at right now, you could easily be successful on your own as your own entity and not be working for somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you do work for somebody else, in my opinion, then what happens is your creativity kind of, stifles.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because then you're working on their creativity.
Yeah.
It's going to be your creativity. The guy you met, awesome dude, probably gave you some huge motivation.
Yeah.
But it's like, Now, maybe right now would be a good idea, but if the guy goes, yo, bro, we want you to work, I want you to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You may tell yourself, okay, well, maybe I'll do it for a little while, but I still want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you may go, hey, bro, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Hey, just can I give you a phone call once in a while if I need a little bit of help?
Yeah.
And probably still be there for you. But it's like, you still, you did it your way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
You know,
Yeah. Funny story. I was actually, I got an interview to become a video editor for Fox 26.
oh, no way.
Yeah. And then the interview went good. They saw my work and they're like, we would love to have you, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got me thinking, like what you said, like maybe doing.
It's going to pigeonhole you.
Yeah. So it kind of threw me off a bit when I started thinking about that. I was like, I don't want that to stop me from
Stifle you or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had to step back from that. Just
Dude,
because,
that's a noble, it's a noble kind of answer. You know what I mean? It's to where, you said to yourself, I don't think it was when we were talking about this now, but I was talking to Frankie, I think off camera, and we were talking about you have to see the forest through the trees, right? So the idea behind it, you have, Fox News, it's one little tree. And you go, oh my God, this tree here. But bro, there's a whole freaking forest.
Yeah.
Let's just calm down.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? Now, could there be stepping stones? 100%. You go, listen, I'm going to give this 6 months,
Yeah.
right? And after 6 months, I'm still doing my own deal. But thank you very much for all this experience. And guess what? You get to put a little dot next to your resume and says Fox News.
Right.
So those things are advantages too,
Yeah.
right? Because anytime you can build your resume, right? Or you can tell yourself, oh, I was on the, Warrior Mindset podcast with, former Navy SEAL, Dr. Joe Martin, blah, 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 blah. Little dot, and then I said, they did this. Because sometimes resumes are like rubber bands.
Right.
They stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of make your history a little bit more, and then you got to shrink it back down again. Then all of a sudden you add some components that are real, then it kind of inflates a little bit, and then it comes back down. You know what I mean? So that's, no pun intended, like your shirt, creativity.
Yeah.
You got to create that for yourself.
Right.
And I think, I think you're going to do a great job. Hey, everybody, we're going to be finishing up this conversation with Jose. And dude, present the stage name again.
Chango.
Chango. I'm going to have to remember that right down on my freaking forehead.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I'd like to thank Chango for coming out. It was awesome to have him out here. The creativity that he's building on his own brand. We will make sure that all his information is on our podcast. So if you have any questions for him, any videography you need to do, whether it's music videos, whether it's for advertising, definitely look him up. Frankie and I may keep him close in mind too, because could be some collaboration that we do with the Warrior Mindset. A lot of it's behind the scenes, but I can see where we could be working with this guy in the future too. That's the concept with this Warrior Mindset. The guy puts on the armor every freaking day, right? He grew up in a lifestyle where his parents were from Mexico. They came to the U.S. They're running a restaurant for 13 years. He's getting into a business on his own. Man, this is the type of people that we want to meet, because there may be somebody on that side of the camera that's thinking to themselves, man, I didn't think I could do it. And all of a sudden, Chango, all of a sudden, this dude's doing it. So, when you listen to these podcasts, they're here for motivation. It's that mindset every day. Do not let yourself go down. The glass is always half full. And with that being said, we'd like to thank Chango for coming out. Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
And until next time, this is Dr. Joe Martin for the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Please post a like and down below, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And golf clap.